referendum today is yes votes from the machine is 1,819. Marcia, you gotta listen to me, watch me so I don't talk this. The absentee ballots are 29, so the total for yes is 1,848. The no from the machine is 1,876. Absentee is 23, so the total no's is 1,899.
All right. We're with Jeff Capisi, Chairman of the Legislative Council. Jeff, the budget vote just went down, looked like by about 51 votes. So what's the plan for the council at this point, as far as you know?
As far as I know, I spoke with the chairman of the Board of Ed, Lillian Bittman. I also spoke with Pat Lodra, and I spoke with John Quartz. Hopefully we'll be meeting on Thursday evening at 7:30 in the Municipal Center, and we will hopefully put our minds together and come up with a good solution to resolve this issue and bring a budget back to the voters that they will accept.
Will that be a special meeting?
Yes, it will be.
Do you plan on opening up the floor for public comment?
There will be public comment before it. Hopefully it won't be a lot. Maybe there'll be some limits, but I do want to hear what the public has to say.
As a taxpayer and a voter in town for some time, Jeff, how did the outcome of this particular budget season and the outcome of this vote strike you up to the moment now?
Well, it's certainly a disappointment. I really wanted it to pass, but I understand it's a difficult time, and 3% is a large number to swallow in these economic times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Fetchick is the Vice Chair of the Newtown Board of Education. Kathy, 51 votes and the budget goes down.
See you Thursday, right?
What are your feelings about, there was a lobby out there to vote no to increase the budget. There was a lobby out there to vote no to decrease the budget. And then there was the lobby out there that was supporting a yes vote to pass what some folks thought was a balanced plan. Where do you think the town is going to go from here?
I think that it's a hard balance, and I think that, historically the budget's never been added to after a failed referendum. So I can't speak for the council, but I would say historically the budget's been cut an additional amount, and I don't know what they're going to do next.
The chairman of the Legislative Council, Jeff Capisi, just told us that his hope was to get the Legislative Council, the Board of Education, the Finance Board, and the Selectmen all in one room at the same time to get maximum input, as well as permitting voters some latitude to offer their input Thursday night. Do you think that kind of a large gathering of all the top boards in town is a good way to vet all the information?
I think it's a great time for everybody to get together and voice where they are now. If anything has changed since we started the budget process, I think it's great that we all get together and have a big discussion.
Thank you. We're wrapping up our coverage on vote night with Pat Lodra, First Selectman of Newtown. Pat, this has been one of the closer budget votes I've seen, which I guess in a sense makes a much more difficult and challenging job for the parties that have to get together and renegotiate the total. Add more taxes to give more services back or take more out. Typically a no vote means that the budget is too high. In walk-ups and people who are contacting you via phone and email, are you getting the feeling that that's the consensus out of the no voters that have expressed to you?
Well, I really heard from two different constituencies. Most of the people that have contacted me or spoken with me as I run into them are those voters who say, I'm thank you for your hard work, but I'm voting no because I think a 3% or an almost 3% increase in taxes is not what I can support. And then there's another group of people who say we've just cut too deeply, that education in particular is cut too deeply, so I'm voting no because I want more money put back in the budget. To that latter group, I would say that it is unlikely that will be the consequence of the loss. I can't predict what the legislative council is going to do, but in the time that I've been observing the budget process, and I've never known money to be restored to a budget because it has failed at referendum. So, again, I can't predict what the council is going to do, but I think the next challenge is to try to unravel and interpret what does this defeat mean, and what is the right moderate action that the Legislative Council can take to put it back out to the voters and hope to win their support.
Among the two sides of the no voters who spoke to you, was there a preponderance on either side?
Well, yes, because of my position as the first selectman, the population that seeks me out is more the general homeowner, the general voter, and oftentimes the longtime resident, the person who feels more comfortable just coming to the Board of Selectmen office or to the First Selectman office and sharing their point of view, or those persons that I run into when I'm out doing some review of roads and some kinds of issues that homeowners are facing. So it's that population that is more likely to have conversation with the First Selectman. So the preponderance of conversation I have with voters is typically that population that is concerned about their taxes and is asking us to just keep this as low as we can keep it.
Perhaps second only to the frustration of having a budget vote pass or fail by a margin of around 50 votes must be the frustration to see that outcome on the backs of only 2 out of 10 eligible taxpayers. With that in mind, and given the consensus today, do you have anything to offer to the folks out there who may have just opted not to vote because they felt that it was going to be a runaway decision to either side?
Yeah, the big message that I have all the time to all of us that are eligible to vote is that it's not just a right, it's a responsibility. We each have that responsibility to help guide this town, and the way we guide the town is at the ballot box. So it is unfair to put the burden of that choice and that decision on 2 out of every 10 people. Those 2 out of every 10 should not have the unique position of determining the fate of the community. We all share in that, and we have that responsibility to vote. And I'm really upset, really saddened that more of the people in town that share in our future didn't care enough to come here and cast their vote. They ought to be doing that, and we need to somehow convince people that we all have a stake in this. Aye or nay, we have a stake in it. We have to care enough to cast that vote.